I haven't posted in a while, and it's because the news is not good, I mean, it's not the worst because I'm still alive, but it's a very close one, and they're getting closer and closer and closer as to the edge, over the edge, as addictions usually do. But I had, the 9 months here, there were only a couple of minor binges. There was one in November, and then there was a short one in Toronto in March, I think, and also an overnight, and that left the kids here and I came back, which is really the better way of doing it. But this time, if there is a better way, but this time, I kind of let my guard down. It had been 8 or 9 months, and I'm not going to give all the details here as usual, even though I might actually talk a little bit more. We're getting so serious about this, and the only possible little kernel of positivity that could come out of all of this, out of my own shit, is if my own struggles help even one or two more other people. I have so few viewers that probably won't, but I'm putting it out there. So and even for my friends, and I have very good friends, I do want to do these so that they can see a little bit more than what I give them the text and the visuals, and also so that I can publicly thank them. Which is so I'm still alive. Very, very, very deep binge, and I did something that I haven't done in a long time. I partied at home with a DDRW, and that was because I'd already gone on the Friday, I think, to party at a motel with the DDRWs, and it's so hard to find stuff here, but when it was available, and it just been so many months, and it was like one little bit just at the motel. But then once I got stuff and I had it here, I ended up going the next step, and I actually, partied at home, which I have, it is very dangerous because for my kids, and bringing somebody else into the house and other people, and people who are addicted to even more addicted than I am to stronger substances. And again, I am going to, I'm not going to name the substances here just because of, anonymity, legal considerations. I will write about everything, and eventually, that's another reason to stay alive. Eventually, if I can publish, then it can be fictionalized and change the names and, all of that. Then there will be a lot more detail about addiction and addicts and, and the particular processes, and what I've been going through. But for now, I'll just say, Friday, I think it started. Actually, no, there was one the previous week, and I haven't posted since then. There was one the previous week, but it was on a particular substance. It was at a motel, but the slithering kind of didn't work out because, the stuff I'm into when I'm partying is more of the big city stuff than local. So that didn't quite work out, but it whetted my appetite. So I made 4 or 5 days with, the biggest push is obviously my kids. And also, things like going out to eat and going to a car show with the car, with the Cadillac, which didn't really help much as a kind of a lame car show. And after having tasted the forbidden fruit, those things didn't, car show, eating out, it didn't quite cut it. Even, going for wings and beer. The first day I came back after that, I went for wings and beer to a different place, and it helped me back the first day. But then after that, it didn't help. So then I think it was on the Friday that I ended up, slithering and a substance at the motel. And there was an opportunity for people to come here, but I was still not that far gone. That I knew that would be very dangerous for my kids, and not a good thing to do. So I managed to actually grab some stuff when they were leaving and going back to the big city from McDonald's in a small town nearby off the highway. And then after that, but I had stuff. And that's the problem. And once I had it here, and I was like going, I'll just do a little by myself. And that doesn't work, because then I ended up looking at options. And there was one where, it involved people coming here. And I'm like, at that point, when the boundaries are erased, when I'm in the other world, when I'm my alter ego, when I'm possessed, and we'll talk more about that shortly, I'm going to return to the possession model. I'm not myself. And I compromised my children's safety, which, now, we're all still alive, but, it got very, very hairy, and managed to get out of it yesterday. But now, after that, it was paranoia and all kinds of things. And the biggest help and support to me, and the biggest shout out to all my friends, but particularly my neighbors, the best neighbors ever, who have gone to the next level of being best neighbors ever, in terms of, still, being willing to help me, and look out for me. And I was even considering going back to Toronto with the Inside Kids for a while. But I at this point, I'm just going to play day by day, I've got a list of things to do today. And so far, I haven't eaten much lately. Last night I had some beers, a couple of beers at the nearby bar, and some wings. And I had the car there, the Mercedes, and 2 beers, one big, one small. And I was debating, should I, that I usually walk there, but should I, leave the car there and walk back? Or should I just drive? It's like a block. And I'm sitting in the car debating this. The bar closes at 10. I was in the car at 10:20, just debating. Should I drive? Should I walk? Should I drive? Should I walk? 4 police cars show up. And and an officer comes to my door, to my window, and I put down the window. And he goes, we've had a report of a burglary or robbery at the Wild Wing. And I go, I was just in there. And he goes, oh, so you were a customer. He thought I was a suspicious character, maybe involved in the getaway driver or something. So I'm like, he says, oh, you were a customer. And I go, yeah, I came out, and I've just been sitting in the car, and I've been debating whether I should walk or drive, because I live only a block away, and I had 2 beers, one big, one small, and I'm just, wondering whether I should walk or drive. And he says, you should walk, because I can smell the beer. And he says, I wasn't going to say anything. So you know what? If I had started walking, they probably would have. There were 4 cars there. One of them would have probably followed me and stopped me. And DUI. Now, I don't know. It's like 1 beer, 1 big, 1 small, but over a short period of time, no food for several days before, So, and some wings. I don't know whether technically, legally, I'd have blown over or not, but it would have been a close call, and it would have been very, very risky, because I would be in jail now, So anyway, I wouldn't be here. But so I just, I thanked him, and I walked. And everybody, I picked up the car, I walked over, picked up the car, and there's a little diner here where I came and just had a fish burger, filet of sole burger with fries. The pet value, because I was just closer, I had to come check at the bank. So I just came to here. I think I'm going to go back, check on the kids, and then go check on the car, see if the missing items are there, rather than go to PetSmart right now. I've got enough food at home and these to last us for another couple of days. So tomorrow I might make the PetSmart. But right now, I think I need to do this other stuff, so I'm kind of prioritizing here. But this will be it. Okay, I just came home to check on the kids, and Peanut trusts her father so much that she's not going to hide or anything. If bad people come, sweetie, you should really go hide. And that one is probably the safer, because she's going to hide. That was Jill, and BC is already in hiding. So those two, don't worry about it. These 3, you got Agatha there. We've got Finn here. I know this is Finn because the style of sleeping is only Finn. So we get it's very comfortable. So we got Agatha, we got Finn, and Elsie is being a little cautious. under the bed, and I think that's a good idea. But in spite of my bringing the havoc here, they're like, okay, we're fine. We trust our dad. He's not going to let anything bad happen to us, and I just hope your trust is not misplaced, darlings, So, just going to do this, just do it one day at a time. So we've got Agita, Finn, Elsie, and Phil's outside, and Peanut the Brave on her cushion, and Jill hiding, and BC already in hiding, and my amazing, incredible, unbelievable neighbors who, she offered to look after the ferals if I need to go to Toronto for a few days. And I may need to in a couple of days, because there is a couple of things I have to do there anyway, and it may be a better place to, just because I've gone so deep, maybe a better place to regroup for a couple of days with these sidekicks. But I'll talk to her about that first. And I'm just going to do what I can here. But then I drove here to the storage garage, and I found the garage door opener in the Cadillac, but I didn't find the main things I came here for, which is the wallet with car ownerships and stuff in it, and the spare house keys. And so the paranoia is still there. Hello everybody, it's later on day one of this return from the deepest excursion in quite some time. So we've got Agita there, got one of the boys there, and the other boy there, under the bed. Oh no, not under the bed, it's hiding. Yeah. I should be in there too. That's Elsie. Sorry, Elsie, I just wanted to show. She's got all things over too. So we got Elsie there, we got Finn there, we got Agita there, and came out, and I just actually saw both BC and Jill run and hide, because they went under the deck, and that actually makes me very happy, because it means that if, hopefully everything will be okay, cross crossed, but, if there's any trouble, they're safe, Two people in the family will be safe, those two, because they will go and hide, and because they hide from their father, and it's probably a good thing, because their father is, it's got a very feral side, and, I will never intentionally get you guys into trouble, sweethearts, I love you so much, but, I'm more like that one. That's Jack. I got it, because Jack's indoor and outdoor, and, he's a bit of a risk taker like me, and he also hunts. He's like that's a different kind of thing, he's a hunter and a rebel, and, he's more like his uncle here, whereas he's not hiding. But he'll be safe. I mean, I have no worries about Jack, Jack can take care of himself. Those two, they hide. I'm happy about that. This one I worry about a little bit. Where's she? Hey, Peanut the Fearless. Don't hide when I come. That's fine. But if there's ever any trouble with, the kind of DDRWs that your feral dad, occasionally gets really caught up in, then you should go and hide too. You really should. You should go into the deck. I mentioned that there were 3 items missing. Electric garage door opener, which I did find at the storage garage in the old Cadillac. And we've got this. This is the wallet with the ownerships, the cars. And I found it. Now, the only thing missing, and that's probably the most worrying, is the spare set of house keys. But I can always get the locks changed. I think that was, I could have misplaced it, or could have been taken, during the thing, or whatever. Doesn't matter at this point. It's like, it's more dangerous that, someone may know where I live than it is, having the keys, because, it's, anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to keep going day by day. As I told my neighbor, my paranoia has been reduced by 2/3, because I got two of the 3 missing items. third is still missing. It's the most worrying of the three, and it should have been here. Okay, the question is how much to share, how much to reveal. I have done podcasts before where I was, actually on a substance and coming down. I have done the post-binge podcasts where I've been pretty rough shape. Actually, not as in rough a shape as I was after some of those, even though this was very deep, and it was also here. It's part of it. Part of it was here in the house. So that's what I think shifted here, the fact that, and that for me, that was a big barrier. It was something that I was very careful about protecting my home and my kids, my three inside kids and my three outside kids, and I failed, because it's a long story, but I was, I was already on stuff, and my judgment was very impaired, and the pulls were so strong that I did something that I haven't done pretty much ever. I took a very big risk, and not just with myself, but with the with the family that I really, really care about and want to protect, and kind of failed as a cat parent. And there was slithering going on in this room, which is I'm not going to let the kids in because there were substances. There could be traces of something on the floor, or that could be very, very dangerous for cats. So I vacuumed a little bit yesterday, but it has to be thoroughly cleaned. So that's an issue that I haven't had to worry about before. So that's one thing. And then my poor neighbors, they're very worried about me, and they're keeping an eye on me. And the wife next door is willing to look after the funerals if I go to Toronto and this exchanging tests. But they're so busy that I hesitate to impose. And I feel pretty bad about having brought them into it, in the sense that like slithering here, and they kind of knew what was going on, and they were worried, So there's that, and my neighbor did offer to possibly, talk to police and have extra, have extra drive-bys on the street, but I don't then have to admit why, and I'd rather not right now at this point. If things escalate a bit, yes, then I would. But at this point, and there was the whole thing with the police yesterday. I think I've talked about this already. And I ended up making the right choice, and I told the cop, I've been drinking. And he said, I can smell the beer. It's better you walk. So if I had not walked, it would not have gone well, probably. So there's that, So and even my neighbor, my friend is, is not religious or anything, but kind of agreed with me that whole thing with the cop is a bit of a sign, So and then my other friends, I've been sharing. They know that I don't hold back from them. My two cat rescue friends, I don't hold back from them. So I don't know. And we've got the 3x3 biggest pushes ever. Not quite big enough for when the pulls get to a certain point, but the pushes to stop and to try to come back and to put some effort into this. And this is day one, so I finally ate after a few days. This is day one clear. If I ate, I took my diabetes medication. I've taken some practical precautions. I found, a couple of things. I found the wallet with the ownerships of the cars. I found the garage door opener, So so I did a few things. I went out and bought some cat food. And I did drive to the storage garage to get the garage door opener, and I found the wallet, the ownership wallet, but I can't find the spare keys. So that's one more thing I have to keep looking for. and if not, take some appropriate, do something to kind of protect the house. And I fed the kids. I'm going to try. I can't make any promises, kids, because I'm an addict. I'm a junkie. I get possessed by something, so it's not an excuse. But I will. The only promise I can make is that I'll go day by day. Everything I can. Day by day. So let's just. We made 11 weeks last time. Let me try again. I felt like giving up actually on that last one because it was just went so far down that I don't want to talk about it. But I will write about it. At one point, it was very close to giving up. But I'm back. A little weak, a little exhausted, but I'm back, and I'll do this. So I'll do this for these people and for those people. So from the 7 of us. I managed to install the new lock all by myself, but I kind of forgot to, not forgot, but I couldn't align this. I couldn't get the thing into the screws properly, so I installed it without this thing, and now it's locked. I managed to lock it, but it's not unlocking from inside, but it unlocks from outside. So it's locked. Just can't use the door for now. But that's okay, that's a minor thing. If I can put in the new, that's going to be harder actually. If I can put in the new lock in the garage door, then I don't need to use this one for a while. A little problem here. I got the other thingy out, that thing, I got that out. But the mechanism for this won't go through the hole. It's like sticking. So I either have to get one with the smaller thingy there, or that has to be extended. And came on a way back from another call, and for $40, he did everything. It took him 5 minutes. Yeah, it took him 5 minutes. He did it, and it's locking, and I got new keys and everything. So that's one good thing done. So having done that, I had put some leftover pizza in the fridge. In the oven. Because I didn't think I could go out with the doors not locking. But the young man came in and did this. So I'm thinking, since, we're like day 2 return, I think I'm going to go have a beer and wings because, I've got to need some kind of, slithery thing. So, yesterday was no booze at all. And yesterday was day 1. So today's day 2. But it's, it's not booze that is the problem. And so let's, and I like the wings and booze, and I'll walk so that I don't have the police problem last time, and the doors are locked now, and I won't be long, just take a beer. Hello everybody, it's me, the Nutty Professor, and I'm here at the bar again, and I'm having the wings, and I had a beer, but they have a thing here called the fish bowl, and it's an actual freaking fish bowl, and there's all kinds, there's vodka, and there's something else, Look at that, it's a fishbowl. I guess that Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Rain, going off the rails, is a fairly appropriate song for what I'm about to do. Bye for now. Okay, I'm walking back. At least I'm not crawling. That fishbowl was very big. Hello everybody, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We've got one of the boys there, one of the boys there, kids there. It's now approaching day 3 clear of the big thing, So yesterday I drank, this beer and this wings and this huge fish bowl of a drink with kinds of alcohol in it. And I came back and I walked back. Of course not, didn't drive, barely walked. And I had a couple of Smirnoff ices in the fridge, left over from the lady who sold me the house. So I had those fairly quickly. And I fed. That's the most important thing that I was able to do. I fed the kids. I fed the outside kids, fed the inside kids, and I just shut myself in here. Had the Smirnoff Ice, and 2 of them. And that kind of got me to sleep. And I still had, the residue of the fishbowl. And there are some beers left in the fridge that the lady left, I got up again. I got up a couple of times. I had a dream a bit, I was got into one was won a jackpot, in the casino at a machine, but I didn't know what the jackpot was, and it was like everything in the casino started flashing, but we don't know what was what was the jackpot. And then I got into a sort of a hostage situation, and it got really bad, and I was looking in a house, and then this happened and that happened, and then myself and someone else stole a car, got into a refinery, and it was like, I had a match, and we were ready to just blow the whole place up. And fortunately, I woke up before I lit that match. But that's kind of where we are in the unconscious right now, like, very close to big explosion. So, and as I woke up, my thought was this. Oh, and I can't open the fridge because this thing is buckled. I have to put my foot down. And the remaining beers, anything here now, like this. And these are the beers that the lady left for me. So those are matches. That's going to go down the drain. Booze really isn't my thing, but in this situation, it's not helping. It will be the match. So this has got to go down the drain. I hate the taste of beer anyway. So we got to do that. And this is like, I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste. Okay, to the one. There's 3 more in there. But let's do that as a symbolic thing, because I'm not going to drink these right now. I know that that's the match, and also smell of it and the taste of it at this point is just not my. Just don't. It's just making me sick. So I've got 3 more beers in there, but I'm just going to give them to the neighbor tomorrow. Just put them by the back door. Yeah, they drink beer. So rather than waste it. So that first one, that was like symbolic. So that's done. The symbolic gesture. Now, what to do next? Got so far in, or under, up, over, whatever. Very, very difficult to come back from here. And my neighbor yesterday, the neighbor's wife is kind of very, very understanding and supportive. Hasn't said it to me, but the neighbor, I mean, he's an upfront guy, and he's like, that, and he's, this is not somebody should be telling you this, or if I say it to you, this is something you should, for yourself, for the next time, and for that you brought this into your own home. Your home should be sacred. It should be, and I know the sanctity of my home, and the safety here for me and my kids. And but I was on the when I opened that door, and there are all kinds of things, and I'm not going to try to rationalize it. I'm not going to try to justify it. I'm not going to try to explain it, Well, I will for myself. That's what I do, I will write about it. I'll talk about it, as much as I can in here. But the thing is, it happened, So, yes, we'll try to do not want it to happen again. And if it happens again now, it will be much, much, much worse, because there will be no coming back if I keep going. So this is going to be one of the hardest returns ever, because I went further ever, and I crossed a barrier that I haven't crossed in many, many years, which is, partying in my own home, in a very nice neighborhood and that's what's kept me. It was the cats and the neighborhood and the neighbors and the friends. It's kept me, from getting here for so many years, well, months at least, the months that I've been here, And in a way, it was better in Toronto, because when I binged, it was on the outside. The kids were safe. I would go do my thing, not bring it into my house. But here, it just kind of happened. I mean, sort of circumstances, so hard to find. And when I did find it, and I got, I started there a couple of times, and then I ended up getting some and bringing it here. And then once I was here and I was partying, then it was like, then the barriers are down, and the whole the thought processes. You're not thinking clearly. You're no longer in the realm of of the daylight world. It's everything is impaired. That's what I call it, impairment. So the ego functions. So again, I don't want to talk about all of that at this point. Yes, I mean he is right, and I kind of deserve what he said to me. So I'm good with that, But now the question is what to do, And he's right. It's me, So it's me. I have to do this, And we're not even talking about like in the distant future, after 10 weeks, or we're talking about today, tomorrow, This is where addiction leads you, So we're talking about right now. And I managed to, again, without going into a lot of detail, I managed to get out of the situation 3 or 4 days ago with difficulty. And that too, that was not easy, but I managed to get the person that I was partying with out of the house. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have stopped. And and at this point, turning into and there was a lot more. Again, I don't want to talk about it, but there was a lot more dangerous substances involved. So I'm going to do this, and I just woke up. I've been managing. I've been, my friend welcomed my Toronto friend welcomed me back yesterday. So I'm not quite sure I'm back yet, because I was drinking. So there was still that world, but the more legal one. However, the problem with that is it as my dream said, I'm in a refinery and I'm playing with fire, so I can't drink, So now I had planned. I mean, tomorrow there's a car cruise and stuff here, so I don't know if I can do it. I mean, it's going to be a bit of an effort, but I did do some things yesterday. I got the locks changed, things like that, Even though I'm pretty sure it would have been okay, but having slipped up, having fucked up, as I told my neighbor, and he says, you don't have to convince yourself. He says, also he said, you don't have to convince me, you have to convince yourself. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not convincing anyone. I'm dealing with the situation here, So and this is where addiction takes you. That's the whole thing. I mean, this is what and the pull. When I talk about the pull, and he also said to me, he said, next time you should think of the next before you do something like that, you should think of the six kids and things. And I don't, I keep sending them the podcast. I don't think they really watch. I don't think he really watches them because doesn't. Yeah, I don't expect people to. They're long and they're boring. But that's basically what I said in every podcast. Is that they are my main pushes. The 6 kids are my main pushes. If it wasn't for these 6 kids, I don't think I'd be alive now, And these are my main pushes. And every day, it's such a struggle, Every day, it's such a struggle. But I've been making it every day, day by day, by day, with, because of these, And because of these 6 kids. The 3 in here and the 3 out there. And I've been doing the rechanneling and the car stuff and the eating out and the casinos, the less positive rechannelings, casinos, and drinking. I have been drinking beer and wings and walking and stuff like that, walking back. I've been doing that, and I've been doing everything I possibly can, and it's stepped up. It's like we're after 10, 11 weeks. And in a way, the pulls were worse here. I've got my neighbors, I've got the Ferals are a huge help, I got my kids. But in a way, when the pulls started increasing, and because there are so limited options here. There I would have, again, it's a bit too late to say, yeah, maybe Toronto would have been better after all to stay there. But because that was limited, and there were a lot of options. So I would leave the kids in the condo and go out and slither. And there would be pretty bad benches, but I'd make it back. But I never brought it into my home. But here, the options were so limited that when I started, and again, without going into a lot of details, when I started, and it just it started snowballing. I don't know if that was a Freudian slip to use that term, but there was and it just got out of control. And then once I was in here and my thinking was impaired, then safety, then you don't even give a shit about safety. But even these people, I tried to keep them safe as best I could. But at that point, the pulls are so strong that the biggest pushes, including these 6. So as my neighbor was saying, think about the kids next time. I did. And that's the fucked up part, is that the pulls, when they are at their maximum, they are stronger than the strongest pulls. And there's no pull stronger than these, no pushes stronger than these 7, these 6, well, 7 if you include Jack from next door, because I really, really care about Jack as well. So, and I care about my neighbors. And I don't want the rest of my house getting burnt down or anything. But as he said, it's all logical. I mean, it's something that my out of province friend said that to me as well. I could have been robbed, murdered, all of that stuff. When you're in that, my kids could have been harmed. Worse than my being robbed and murdered is that I put these people at risk. But again, I'm not going to dwell on that right now. This is like right now, I gotta get back. I'm not quite back yet. I gotta get back. So it's a minute at a time. I'm very, very, very stuck, but I will do it. And as I woke up from the dream, and the about to light the match, and I was in a really bad situation in a refinery, and taken hostages and all that kind of stuff. And maybe my kids and my hostages, but I was like going, I couldn't get out, and I was like, but I didn't light the match. And as I woke up, I was like going, I didn't light the match, so there's still hope, So as long as I'm alive, there's still hope. So we're going to do this. I promise the kids, you cannot promise kids that you will never party, slither. I'm an addict. Addicts can't do that. I can never promise them. I never have that I will never party, slither again. The only promise I can make to them is that I will do everything I can. I put everything I have into this. Every little, every bit of whatever I have to fight, to battle, I will do it, And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm going. So we're just going to go. So first step right now, I've taken some first steps yesterday, and the changing of the locks. So that's the practical thing. And I just poured one beer down. I'm ready to pour the other 3, but I think that's not necessary. The one was a symbolic gesture. The other 3 I can give to the neighbors, and they have. In spite of everything that they did and what happened, they've been supportive, and the wife is willing to look after the cats, the outside cats. If I take these ones and go, and at this point, that might be a better idea. It might be a better idea to go to Toronto. It's kind of odd, but and the thing about Toronto is that if I was to slither, if I was to party, then there are more options there, and it doesn't affect these people because I won't bring it into the condo. It's straight, it'll be out there. So if, and I don't think it's going to come to that, but if I'm going to slither, if I can't rein this thing in, the beast is completely out of control now. If I can't rein it in, it's better to be there, but I don't think I will. I really don't think I will there. I think we'll be okay, and I can kind of cut myself off, myself and the kids, just be secure and safe in the condo for a few days, just to regroup and just do some writing and podcasts and stuff like that, and stay inside. So we'll see how that goes. They have offered and look after the outside cats, so I might take them up on that. And in the meanwhile, like tomorrow, I think I will go to the car show. I'm here. I'm just going to do this day by day. If I go to the car show and stuff, then I won't be drinking because of the car. So we'll do it day by day. So anyway, This is full battle alert now. This is like, this is a minute at a time. This is as much of a struggle as I've ever had to do. Bye for now. Hello, it's a few minutes later. It's actually just past 4:44. I think it's like 4:47 or something. So I'm here in the bedroom with the kids, and I've shut the doors. I'm kind of holed up in here because, the front part of the house is sort of compromised it when I was, partying, slithering. So I'm just feeling a little safer in here with the kids. So you get one of the boys there in the corner, Geetha there, one of the boys under the bed. And, and I also feel a little better in here because the ferals are nearby. They're just out that window. The shed is like, 10 feet that way. So I kind of feel a little bit more connected with my ferals as well here. So we kind of, this is our home-based battle from now. It's like the bedroom. So I'm doing my taping here, and I'm gonna select the tarot card here. Now, before I actually select the tarot card, there's all kinds of things. I mean, I've been thinking about my own approach. Not the most effective because, I went 10, 11 weeks and when I fell, I really fell. But, I mean, on the other hand, and, I'm maybe rationalizing, of course, but on the other hand, I'm not a daily user. And the fact that I do have the funds, I mean, I could very easily become a daily user. And that's what I'm trying to fight. I'm trying to fight turning into one, because if I do, then that's it. It's the end, and I cannot become a daily user because I have responsibilities. I have my 6 kids to look after, and I want to eventually publish my writing because, I really don't think that anyone has written about this world and the struggles from the perspective that I have, and as non-judgmentally as possible. And that's the whole thing. In spite of everything, the DDRW who I was partying with here at the house, much, 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 much worse shape than I'm in, much stronger substances, and not only daily use, like every minute pretty much. But I still don't judge them, It's like, and I said to them, that's your choice, That's your. In a way, I mean, it gets complicated because in a way it's not a choice. But I don't want to get into philosophical discussions. But I wouldn't preach at them the way the 12 steppers do, So and way back, 300 podcasts ago, 6 years ago, I had said that someone way back, when I was at a completely different stage of the addiction, someone had said to me, I had said, I'm a tourist in this world because I come, I party, I go back to the ordinary world. And they said, no, excuse me, you're not a tourist because when you party, you become, I become Uber, Uber junkie. I embrace that world, and then, but I come back, and I've been coming back, and I did 19 months at one stretch during the pandemic, and then I've done 3 months, and as I said, I have options that a lot of people don't have, because I had the option of getting out of town and buying a house out here in the country, hoping that, but the substances are everywhere, and the country, it was positive in many ways, and it helped. And getting the ferals and the amazing neighbors, all of those were the biggest, pushes imaginable. But unfortunately, the pulls, when they're at the maximum, even the strongest pushes don't work. So, but the fact that I can make 10, 11 weeks, I mean, I don't see myself as a tourist. I see myself as an addict, but I can make, with a lot of effort. I mean, it doesn't come easily, but with a lot of effort, I can make 10, 12 weeks, and that's because of the pushes. It's because of my kids and, and my neighbors and my friends, which a lot of daily users, they don't have those options. So I've got, I do have those options, and I did come out here. And there were advantages, but there were also disadvantages. It's so hard to find, and when I find it, then it went wild. I went wild. So, but anyway, all of my system, I'm not a daily user. I have been able to do 10 weeks, or more at times less, but it takes a lot of effort, and there's also all the rechannelings and the casinos and the drinking and all that stuff. You have to really work at it. So we got that going on, and I was also thinking about my approach, my system, the return, to the ordinary world, and the and that's what Campbell said. Sometimes the traveler doesn't return because the underworld, like Odysseus, when on the way back, there are unspeakable horrors. Because, you have to go into the underworld, hell, basically. There are the unspeakable horrors, and I've seen a lot of them, and I've experienced them. And, and kind of what I did was an unspeakable horror, compromising my kid's safety. That's kind of unspeakable. But there are also unimaginable delights, And the other thing I wanted to say is that the daily users and the people who are much more far gone than I am, there is an amazing strength. I mean, people say junkies are weak, but to survive, to be actually, when moving is so difficult, it takes half an hour to move, a couple of feet. When moving is so difficult, but to keep going. And to not give up, and to keep going under those circumstances, that's a resilience and a strength that that leaves me kind of speechless. So there is, now I need to put that resilience and strength into, the next step of they put it into surviving, which involves continuing to feed the addiction. But if that's where they're going, that's where they're going. I wouldn't tell them to stop. So we've got unspeakable horrors, unimaginable delights. We've got dusty dumpster rodent weasels. We've got all that stuff going on, and we've got the nutty professor, the poor that's struggling beyond nutty professor. It's I keep coming back, but and but at this point, it's just day by day, minute by minute. Drinking was not helping. I do whatever I can, when I need to drink, I drink, and it's not helping, so I'm going to stop the drinking. And I think this is a very major first step. Getting back to podcasts, getting back to writing, because that's my lifeline. And at some point, I have to publish. I really have to publish my stories because, a lot of the people that I met, their stories are worth telling, but they can't tell them just because they're too caught up. They don't get the relief. I've been clean 2-3 days. They don't get that. They don't have the resources, the time, or the skills to write, and which I do. I have all of those, So, but in order to write, I have to stay alive. I've got to stay alive, and then at some point, I'll have to. It's a pain in the butt to try to publish. I've tried before, but at some point, I'll have to do it. So, because I kind of owe it to the fact that I am allowed to go to that world and come back, which a lot of people don't come back, are not allowed to. I just can't come back, and I need to write for those people, So for my fellow strugglers. Okay, no, not quite goodbye yet. I'm going to pick a card. One sec. Okay, I've done a Nutty Professor shuffle, and this was the card that kind of spoke to me, and I brought it to the top. It wasn't at the top, but it was kind of spoke to me. I have my own system for doing this. So this is the card. Let's see what it is. And it is reversed. And what is it? The Four of Swords reversed. And I think I have picked this before. I think I picked it after a binge last year or a couple of years ago. And I don't remember if it was reversed that time. I'd have to go back to the previous podcast. How appropriate is this? In a tarot reading, the Four of Swords reversed can signify a few different things, often indicates a period of healing and rebuilding, suggesting you are slowly recovering from a challenging time. This can be a time of reflecting on the past, processing emotions, leading to a renewed sense of perspective and more positive outlook. It can also suggest the need for rest and relaxation, both physically and mentally, to regain energy and clarity. Healing and rebuilding, you're recovering from a difficult period, relationship, personal challenge, time of stress. Definitely time of stress. Time for patience and self-compassion, allowing yourself to heal and rebuild trust. Rest and relaxation, break from your routine, physical rest, mental rest, or mental escape from overthinking, which is what I do a lot. It encourages you to prioritize your well-being. In my case, I need to start eating again, taking my diabetes meds. Find time for relaxation, self-care, new perspective, taking a break, reflecting on the past. Four of Swords reversed can offer new perspectives and insights. You may gain a better understanding of yourself, your relationships, challenges you faced. Communicating support encourages you to communicate your needs and support from others. And that's very appropriate too. Can be particularly important to relationships, open communication, understanding of the key to healing and rebuilding trust. How appropriate is that? So at least the signs are still there. So that helps too. I mean, just seeing that, it's like, okay, there's whether there's something in it or not. I mean, it works for me. So anything that works at this point, I'll take it. So that's all I have to say for now. Wish me luck. Wish from the day by day. I will probably be posting a little bit more often. So it's day by day, and it's I'm going to reflect on this Four of Swords. I'm going to reflect on all of that. So that's going to be something that's going to help me come back, hopefully. So from the Seven of Us. So we've got one of the boys there, and I think that's Finn. We've got Agita there, and we've got the other boy there, and I think that's Elsie. And we've got the Firwolf just out there in the shed. You can't see it because of reflection. So from the Seven of Us. So from the three inside kids, the three outside kids, and myself. They're very struggling, returning, deepest, darkest return yet in many ways, but I almost give up, but I'm not giving up yet. Don't count me out. So, wish us luck. Bye for now. I almost forgot, because I'm so messed up, I almost forgot my signature, closing statements. So from the Seven of Us, from Finn, Elsie, Agita, Peanut, BC, and Joe, and myself, the craziest, nuttiest, most fucked up without a shadow of a doubt, most fucked up professor to ever walk the face of this earth, Bye for now, and see you next podcast.